Alright, so these are off of a 1997 Acura CL. The old ones I couldn't get the bolts out of the shock strut. So what happened was that it seized so good on the inside there of the rubber that it started to spin, so I got these new ones. Granted, this tips and stuff I'm not going to be able to show you how to put them in because I already did that. But so what I ended up doing, which found it easy, and it's all stuff kind of at home, I had these little bars here. I have a couple holes in there, put a bolt in there in one of them with a washer, so it doesn't, so your bolt head has a pretty decent area to kind of like spin on and not like sink into so badly. The second one here, I took another one of those bars and I obbled out a hole big enough to fit this rubber part, because granted this one didn't seat the greatest, but what that pretty much does is let you put pressure on both sides of the outer collar of this bushing, and it allows it to suck in pretty nicely. So at the shoulder of the bolt here, at first, until you get to this back part gets kind of flush with this back part, and to help it kind of suck in really even too, I had another one of these bars. I put two of them on to kind of compensate for the shoulder, and then just a nut in a washer, and then I used my 3/8 impact with a wrench and sucked that in until it got flush and it wouldn't go anymore. So then I found I don't know where to put it now. Oh, right here. Well, 1.25" or 32 millimeter, because it's just a little bit bigger than this hole and it won't try to dive in there if it shifts, and then it won't pull straight. Because what I tried before is putting it in the vise with one on the back and then 1.125", because that's the outer diameter of this collar, and I got the first one like that, but the second one just was not cooperating and it's just pain in the ass. So kind of rednecked it up a little bit and kind of made my own little press, because even trying to put these on a hydraulic press, it's just so awkward that you really can't get a good angle at it. So pretty much, like I said, and hopefully it helps somebody out there, is get one of these. I don't know what the size hole to make. I just kind of kept obbling until it fit on there snug, and it does. I mean, you kind of have to press that on there, which is good. So get a piece of metal, pretty sturdy piece of metal, with a hole big enough to slide over that. Then another piece of metal to go over the top of that so you can put your bolt through, and then just kind of something to catch the back of the bushing, so it has room to slide pretty freely. But other than that, I mean, it took maybe 10 minutes or so after figuring all that stuff out, but pretty painless and pretty easy. And when I had to get the old ones out too, I just took a screwdriver and poked the rubber out, leaving the metal collar in, and then I took my Sawzall and I tried very carefully to not cut into the knuckle itself, but cut pretty deep into the outer collar, and I did one on each side, and then I took a hammer and a flathead screwdriver and just kind of tapped it out. It took a little bit of persuasion, but they came out pretty simple. Clean it up with wire wheel or a wire brush, and then I seized the inside of that before I slid the bearings in, give it a little bit of a little bit easier to slide, and then hopefully, because these are just Amazon specials, they're like $18 for both of them. So I don't know. Hopefully they last, but hopefully that helps somebody out. And because I couldn't really find any decent videos on that, so hopefully this helps somebody out and makes it a lot easier. Granted, these are for a 97 Acura CL, which what they're gonna be going on is a 91 Accord, and they're pretty much the same. These rear knuckles here are the same, except for the trailing arms here. The ones on the Accord are like 4.5 inches. These are 6, so I might have to cut this down to get it to fit in between the trailing arms, or not the trailing arms, the control arms, my bad. And it's not threaded in here, so yeah, I mean, you cut it off, but there is an indent or a detent in there, so might have to take a drill bit and drill it out a little bit for the position pins on the control arms. But hopefully that all works. But yeah, hopefully some of this information helps somebody out sometime down the line, or just curious and trying to learn stuff.